We have no announcements.
Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
We did.
There you go. I'll make one announcement then. There's the Booster Club out front this evening. I don't know, Lee Albert, are you in here or is he out there? I guess he's out there. Is he out front? They're selling holiday, I can't say Christmas. They're selling holiday wreaths out by the entrance. So if anybody's looking for some nice holiday wreaths and want to support the Springford Booster Club, stop by and check out their table. Okay, public to be heard on agenda items only. Okay. We have a few presentations this evening, honoring some of our students, going to the Tournament of Roses honor band, or participating in that, as well as a presentation of our Springford High School Golden Ram Marching Band and the success this year as well. So Seth, there you go. I'll turn it over to Seth Jones, our director, who is it, director of music? Music director? Band director. I gave you promotion.
Yeah, right. Can't do it all. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mr. Jones, and I am the high school band director. And we're here tonight to recognize two of our groups of students. The first, and I'm going to call them over, band students, is anybody that's going to be participating in the Cavalcade of Bands Tournament of Roses Honor Band. If you are over there, students, could you please come over here to the front to be recognized? This group of students is representing Springford in the Cavalcade of Bands Tournament of Roses Honor Band. Cavalcade of Bands is kind of like the band equivalent of PIAA because we're not sanctioned by the state. We have our own association. And they're putting together an honor band of students that are going to be marching in the 2019 Pasadena Tournament of Roses Parade. And they're going to be doing the full 7-mile parade through Pasadena. They're going to be flying out to Los Angeles in right after Christmas, spending the day. They'll be going to, I think they perform in Disneyland as well, and then they'll be doing the Tournament of Roses parade. So this year on January 1st, when you wake up and you're watching the parade, please make sure to watch for the Cavalcade of Bands Tournament of Roses Honor Band, because our Springford students are going to be participating in that. I think the full band is about 140 students. It's representing students from Pennsylvania, from New Jersey, from Maryland, from Delaware, from Virginia, and I think even New Jersey, if I didn't say it. So we're really excited to see them going all the way to Pasadena. They're going to be on national television representing Springford. They're not going to be wearing Springford uniforms because the Cavalcade Association has their own uniforms, but they will be there. I promise. It's a 7-mile hike. It's one of the longest parades ever, but I think they get free In-N-Out burgers at the end of it, so that's kind of cool. But it's just really amazing to see Springford students on a national stage, whether it be music or athletics. And on New Year's Day, our very own are going to be there in Pasadena. So congratulations to these students. Each one of you guys will have a resolution with your name on it. So I'll give that to you, but then you should be going around the table and shaking everybody's hands. And thank you for representing our school in Pasadena this January.
Hey, Seth. You want to introduce them? Huh? Yeah.
Sure, I'll start on the end and work this way. At the very end, we have Matt Mest. He's a sophomore trumpet player. Then we have Hunter Stenitis, a sophomore saxophone player. And then we have Bella Nimmerrichter, a sophomore from the color guard. Annika Gisa, a junior in the tenor saxophone section. Ryan Henkels, the really tall one. He is a sophomore in the mellophone section. That's French horn, but upright. Nathan Kalish, sophomore in the trumpet section. Emily Adams, sophomore in the color guard. We have Hannah Russell, sophomore in the color guard. You're a sophomore, right? Riley D. Petrillo, who is a senior in the color guard, and Jessica Casey, who is a sophomore in the color guard. Cool. So the second group that we're recognizing is the full high school marching band. So my question for the school board really quickly is, do we want to do the whole round the table? There's 170 of them. So like, we won't be offended if we don't want to do it that way. No, I don't even think I could do that, to be honest with you. It's been a long day. So here's what we're going to do. Yeah, I think we'll put them over here. So band students, could you please come forward and stand here behind the table facing me? Could you guys kind of conglomerate in a group this way? So you're going to stand up and walk forward. So you're right here behind Dr. Roche, okay? We're recognizing the high school marching band. The high school marching band won our circuit championship for Cavalcade of Bands this year. And like I said, we don't have a PIAA, so Cavalcade is kind of like our PIAA championship. And this band was 170 students this year, which was very large. It was a lot of them. And the funny thing about this season is it rained like every day. I have never seen so much rain as I saw in this marching band season. So out of the six Monday night rehearsals we had, it rained for all 6 of them. And so a lot of the times these kids just stood in the rain. A lot of the times we rehearsed in the rain. We performed 3 times in the rain. Our championship performance, if you watched it on YouTube, was in 26-degree weather. It doesn't really sound that great because 26-degree weather is not that good. But I'm really proud of this group of students. We had a story time during our last Saturday rehearsal where we talked about how every band, and this is probably true for athletic teams as well, every individual year the band takes on a personality and they kind of reflect a different story. And the 2018 marching band was definitely our storyteller band. They weren't the angriest band I have. They weren't the loudest band I've had. They were not the most excited band I've had, but they were a good storytelling band, meaning when they went on the field, they really tried to tell a story. And this year, our show was very thematic. Our show was very much like a story from beginning to end. It wasn't just playing and marching for 8 minutes. And they really brought that to life, especially towards the end of the season. This group, we actually never won a show until the very last one. It was kind of a funny thing this year. We just were on a very long trajectory of improvement. And a mentor of mine once told me that championships are won in the beginning of the season, when you have the best fundamentals and when you have the kids that learn how to work the best and learn how to work the hardest. Everything else is kind of like secondary to that. And they had an amazing band camp this year in August. We did a lot of just basics and fundamentals and training and teaching the curriculum of what we do in band. And then we spent the whole season just defining that. And this group of storytellers this year really came all the way. And then we got the championships a couple weeks ago, and they pulled out another win for the department and for the organization. And so congratulations to all the band students. You guys have worked incredibly hard this year to achieve this, and you came a long way. We had many awesome rehearsals together where we had to talk about what we were doing and what the purpose of all this was. And I can attest to all the administration and the board members and the community members, fellow students and parents. They are an extremely wonderful bunch of students to work with this year, and I was really proud of them all the way along, regardless win, lose, or draw. But then at the end of the day, the band totally came out with a win and won the championship, and I'm really just still kind of beside myself. Most of us are, and so it was pretty cool. Congratulations, guys.
Seth, how many in a row is this for the cavalcade?
Well, I mean, it's my 7th in a row, so it's been at least 7. I don't remember how many before me, but it's the 7 I've been here, we've won all time, every time. So 7 something plus, I don't know. I wish I did.
Well, the first one was in 2008. I know that, so we went 2008 and 9, and then there was a 10. There was a loss in there somewhere.
There was a gap in there. You're right. So it's been since 2013 till now. 2013 till now.
Right.
Because there was, no, that's not true. There was a gap in there. I think it's 4 or 5.
Now, do you have the 17 flag?
We do. I gave it to them last week. You know, it's funny, when we got the new flag, I realized that for the last 2 years, I haven't given Mr. Bean, our custodian here, any of the flags. So I was like, oops. And so he got all of them last week, but I didn't expect him to
Yeah,
hang
'cause
them
we'll
all
have
up
to-
in
we'll have to get them
in
moved
one
down,
day.
yeah.
They were sitting in my office, and I kind of uncovered them, and I was like, oh, oops. So we're going to get them up, no worries.
Is any of your staff here as well?
I believe so. I know Mark Thurston is here. I know that Leah and Amanda, who have worked with our color guard, are here.
Have them come out wherever they are. Come on out, Mark. I know you. I saw you somewhere. Where's Mark? Oh, there he is.
Yeah. That's it.
Well, just one other thing. I see Clint Fetterman is here as well, the president of Music Association, and he's really bashful, but I want, Clint, you might as well stand up as well, because without the Music Association
It's true.
support, I mean, they're the backbone behind
Right.
your success as well. So
We are,
Clint, why don't you
yeah.
stand up and, as well?
It is true. Like, I always say that when other band directors come up to me and they're like, you guys are so good, I say, well, it's really because we have an amazing network of individuals that help these kids succeed, from the school board to the administrators to the principals we have in our high school to the teachers to all their parents, and Springford Music Association. It's like, it really takes a village to make it keep going year after year. And I think that's the really, truly unique and special thing about this school district, is that there's so many people here that make that happen day in and day out. And they don't think that I'm just crazy all the time. So.
And don't forget, thank you, Mr. Jones, for holding it all together.
Yes.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you, thank you.
And I know that you raised the bar and you're heading towards that national championship as well, right?
We're trying.
You're getting there, right?
We're chipping away at that one.
Yeah, that's good.
Trip. Yeah.
So again, great job, guys. We're very proud of all your success, and just keep it going, because we've said it for the last several years. We have one of the best, if not the best, marching bands in the state of Pennsylvania and beyond. So thank you very much for making us proud once again. So thank you. It's raining out, so you used to. All right, well, as Mr. Jones is reorganizing his group, I'm going to ask Dr. Reinbach to start making her way up, and we have a presentation this evening.
Ready to get started? Okay. All right, good evening, and thank you, board members, administrators, students, teachers, for allowing us to present this evening. Tonight's presentation is about the QPR and team building activity that took place at the 9th grade center in September, and the goal is to have that an annual event. The QPR, and the students will talk about the QPR and the team building activities that they participated in, but the QPR training, it's a research-based program. The Montgomery County Regional Mental Health Services, led by the director, Mrs. Tori Bright, was very instrumental, along with Dr. Roach, in organizing the 26 trainers to train. We had to train 658 students. So that was the task. It's a 90-minute required training. The students won't go over the training in 90 minutes. It'll be much quicker than that. But it's a complex training, and so we have our student government that is going to be here this evening and talk about what they took away from the QPR training. And then we also have student representatives that are going to talk about the team building activities. The team building activities led by Mrs. Hammond and Mrs. Purdy. I don't know if they're here tonight. But they were instrumental as well in organizing activities. It was student-led, so students in the Resiliency and Avidum Club came over over to the ninth grade center, so it was 10 to 12th grade students, some ninth grade students as well. They were student leaders, and they led our students through team building exercises, and the goal of those exercises is to increase positive communication, build positive relationships amongst their peers. So I'm going to turn it over to the student government, and they'll talk about QPR, and then next will be the students that are going to represent the team building activities. And then a special thank you to Mrs. Briggs and Mrs. Dubbs. They also assisted with both activities and then helping with student government. So,
good evening, everyone. My name is Sam Burns, and I'm the ninth grade class president. I'd like to thank you all for coming out tonight and giving us the opportunity to speak. QPR is designed to save a life and prevent a suicide following these 3 steps. Question someone about suicide, persuade them to seek help, and refer them to a trusted adult. This is not a form of counseling or treatment, rather an opportunity to offer hope to someone in need. Anyone can learn QPR and conduct training at any given time. We are the first to do grade-wide QPR training during our freshman year here at Springford.
Hello, my name is Claire Lanzacera, and I am the class treasurer. I'm going to be talking about how QPR helps. QPR is an act of courage. When one has courage, they want to help and are more willing to say something to someone or even act. When learning QPR, it builds someone's courage. The majority of those who attempt suicide give warning signs. With QPR training, this will interrupt this path. This program recognizes when one's in distress and needs help. QPR does not just help people that are trying to assist someone who are having these thoughts, but it can also help the person that has these thoughts. QPR can tell one when to act and how to act. With providing QPR training, it can encourage someone to get the help they need or give others some warning signs that they need the support.
Hi, I'm Nina Aquilani, and I'm the class secretary. QPR can be applied when someone is showing signs of suicide. Signs of suicide include them showing swings in their mood, letting go of things they used to have pride in, being sad all the time, or changing their personality or appearance. Getting someone the help they need may not always be easy. In fact, it could be a really hard thing to do. Listening to them is key, and when listening, one needs to give their full attention, not interrupt, and not rush to judge. The goal of persuasion is to get a person to agree to get themselves help. To do this, one should ask questions like, will you go see a counselor with me? Will you help make an appointment? Or will you promise me? Things like that could really make a difference.
Hello, my name is Dylan. I am the ninth grade vice president. With QPR, there are 2 numbers that you could call to refer. The first number would be the Montgomery County Mobile Crisis Support number, which is 1-855-634-4673. And the second would be the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, which is 1-800-273-8255. When referring someone to QPR, your first option could be to refer them to a doctor and go to make an appointment with them. If that doesn't work, the second thing you could do would be go refer them to a doctor and have them call them. And if neither of those options work, a third option could be to make sure that they want to get help, and even if it's not at that time, they'll still get help and promise you. The most important thing we got out of this QPR training is that they never leave someone by themselves and always offer help.
Good evening, my name is Victoria Hansen. One of the activities part of the teamwork exercises we did was to build a shelter to protect a Pringle chip from a social studies textbook. At first I thought this activity was relatively useless. Then I got put in a group with 2 other girls, each of us with our own thinking methods and personalities. We communicated our ideas and finished in 30 seconds. The shelter was successful. What I took away from this was how the shelter represents people in our life who care about us and will protect us from harm. I also now know 3 more familiar faces in the hallway and became even more aware that not everyone thinks like me. Thank you for your time.
My name is Ellie Hansen. Out of all the activities that we participated in, the Gaga Ball game was something that we did with a group of people in a circle, and the point of the game was to get a ball through the legs of someone else. During the game, I felt myself become more focused on my surroundings, and there were a lot of different levels at which the people around me were taking the game. Some, like me, were just in it for the fun. Other people got really competitive, and even though it didn't last long, I felt like I got to know people better through the game, just the way we all interacted and laughed. It was a lot of fun, and since we were all put in random teams, I didn't really know many people playing the game, so getting to know them really made the rest of the training more comfortable. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Cooper Stone. Another activity we did involved the hula hoop. For this activity, we got into 6 groups with like 6 people in each group, and we had 1 hula hoop. The objective of the activity was to get the hula hoop on the ground, but there were things that we could not do. We could not talk, and we could not use our fingertips. Overall, the thing that I learned from this was how to work well with others, and yeah, thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Aruj Burthen, and today I'm going to talk about my perspective over the Cups activity. The Cups activity is where 2 teams compete against each other to either knock down or stand the cups back upright. The cups are placed on the floor, and the goal is to have the most cups knocked or standing for your side to win the round. I believe that the Cups activity was a great way to represent the idea of one hurting or knocking others down, and the ones that place the cups back upright are building themselves up again. This activity is a good example of real-life scenarios, and it was indeed a well-thought-out activity. Personally, I had lots of fun during this activity, and this activity is definitely one we should do again. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your night.
Good evening, my name is Connor O'Day. I'm going to be talking about the takeaway from the group activities as a whole. For me, school is an opportunity to strive for future accomplishment, but it can become stressful during the worst times. Fortunately, with the help of our staff and school board, once in a while we are able to take a break from the average routine of the day and try something new. This bundle of team activities was that opportunity for me and many other students who feel the same way. The activities themselves reinforce the topics that we've been learning about through our whole lives as students, which is teamwork, unity, perseverance, and the basic trust in one another. Some of the activities grew frustrating, but as students of Springfield Area School District, we've been raised to overcome the challenges that are presented to us. The difference, of course, this time was that we completed the activities before or after talking about QPR, making the room feel a little more tense than usual. This created a different atmosphere we've never experienced when talking about the teamwork and trust that we've grown so accustomed to. As a result, I and many of my fellow classmates were able to leave that day having felt more impacted by those events than any like them before. I would like to see something similar to this annually throughout high school, not because it was amusing to watch friends and classmates have some difficulty with the activities themselves, but because it is a good way to reinforce those foundational concepts that we strive on. This could be the perfect opportunity to provide us with those foundational concepts. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Okay. Hello, my name is Julia Ward. An activity I found had a positive outcome was the magic carpet. It was a positive outcome as everyone communicated and worked together to accomplish their goal, to turn the cloth. We thought it would be a great experience for the school board to partake in this activity. So, yes. Okay, the rules of the activity are as followed. School board members will stand with both feet on the cloth. The school board must turn the cloth over completely without any member stepping off the cloth. If someone steps off the cloth, the group must begin the activity again.
Can I change into my gym clothes? All right.
No. Julia has examples of how her team was successful, but I said save those and let the board attempt it at least once before she gives her tips for how they successfully completed the task. Well, you're not supposed to. That's okay. Touch it. You can touch it. Feet. You're supposed to do it with your feet. Without going off. Without stepping off. Without stepping off. You have the same struggles that the students had. So give them some tips. So give them some tips.
Okay.
Give them some of your suggestions. See if they're listening. Let them looking at each other, talking to each other. Are they communicating?
No, not, well, kind of. Oh. So, a tip that I would give was that we arranged ourselves from tallest to shortest so that there was more room for the short people to like move back so we could flip the carpet over. But there you go.
Communicating too? Did you?
That's what I said.
You said?
Yeah.
And that was it?
Mhm. They did it.
They did it.
Yeah.
No, you're not. You do a great job leading the district. The piece I think that's important, the QPR training is 90 minutes. It's required 90-minute training. So, the other half of the class, the 650 students, then were participating in these team building activities. I thought Connor really summed it up very well, as far as the benefits of the QPR and, of course, of the team building activities and developing strong relationships with their peers, and then knowing what to do and where to go to assist students. So I thought that was the piece that was beneficial, but that's basically the presentation.
Thank you. I mean, team building is huge. I mean, and the kids are, I mean, they make new friends, and because you make separate groups and all that, and.
Yeah, and the interesting part, they went to homerooms, so we only have homeroom once a month, so they don't see necessarily the students in their homeroom every day, but yet building positive relationships and positive communication skills, even when things are difficult or challenging, are really the key success foundation. So hopefully we will run this every year with the support of the board and Dr. Gooden and Dr. Roach. We think it's an excellent event for our freshman students. Thank you.
And, go ahead, sorry.
I love that the students thought that they wanted it to continue too. So they realized the importance after the day was over. So they're seeing what, they're able to do. And that is powerful for us sitting here, when we're looking at obviously how to add this kind of activity into the day. And, there's no way to turn down that opportunity when you're striving to help kids. So thank you.
Well, as the students are leaving, because they've already left the building here. No, it's okay. They're also aware that just much like at the Flex building in 7th and 8th grade, there are plenty of opportunities here at the high school with Unity Days and other programs that are going on, a BDM club, resiliency opportunities. Those opportunities are here. This was the cornerstone when we put it in 9th grade, as Dr. Weidenbach shared. But it's happening below 9th grade in some fashion, all the way down into elementary levels with the Unity Days and programs going on all the way up. But this was the kind of the culminating piece there in 9th grade that partnered both of these things for an entire portion of the day.
And wasn't some of this on a day off too, that this took place? Because
At the 9th grade center, it was not. We built in a special schedule, so I changed the schedule for the day, Okay. So for.
Maybe the training for the QPR.
Yes, we had it was an
trainers.
after-
Okay, because
yep.
my daughter had gone to that, and she was
Oh, that
telling
was.
me though.
Oh, absolutely.
How valuable. She said we would all give up our day off
Right.
anytime
Right.
to be part
That
of
was,
that.
yeah, that
because-
was probably May of last year, as we were preparing for this.
And,
I had some people come down from the county, because they had not really done student training. The training was really for adults. So we kind of worked on the slide deck and tried to make it more relatable to students, and then went through the training, and then asked for more feedback, and then made some more adjustments based upon the student feedback to make it more about their phone and how they were going to react with it, as opposed to what we all thought they were going to get it. We needed to hear the feedback from them, and we also took feedback again from them following this September as well. The student feedback was phenomenal, to be more interactive and more and provide examples that had to do with, for lack of a better experience. I'm at home at 11 o'clock and someone posts something. Now what do? I don't have all the supports I have in school. So we try to work those type of scenarios in there that are real life scenarios for students, based upon their feedback, saying, here are the types of scenarios that we get. We get a 3-letter text. Okay, what do? How do I get help? That type of thing.
And what's really great about that too is that when you have that training and then you go and you teach that training, you have to have a grasp of it. You have to have an understanding of it and be comfortable with it in your own skin enough to be able to go and interact and teach about it. And so I think it reinforces in those students too the whole concept of this. So it really did reach so many people.
They rushed out. They probably want to go down and see the holiday wreaths, but tell them, it's always tough getting up at a microphone and speaking in front of a crowd. So tell them all that they did a great job this evening.
I will.
So-
When they came in, the band was here, and they said, Dr. Whittemore, you said it wasn't going to be that crowded.
Psych, right? Thank you. Yeah, we have one more presentation that isn't on the agenda this evening that got missed by accident, but we do have Ms. Zazowski is going to do a presentation this evening representing Coldwell Banker.
So hi, everybody. I'm over here tonight instead of over there for just a few minutes. I am here as a representative from Coldwell Banker Hearthside Realtors, where I am a realtor. I'm joined here tonight with Kelly Musser and with Terry Musser, also from Coldwell Banker Hearthside, and a Springford grad. And we also have another person in our party, Maria Hadfield, who couldn't be here right now. But the reason that we're here is to tell you that we had our third annual It's a Party for a Party. And you may have seen it advertised. Hopefully there was some communication on that. I think we tried to get it out there as much as we could. But this event we've done now 3 times, where Coldwell Banker Hearthside hosts this event, and what we do is raise money for SNAP. So we have a little bit of a twist on it. It's not your usual basket raffle, but many of the items that we do raffle off are somehow connected to the home. We have lots of vendors that come, lenders, realtors, all different types of people that are in the industry of building homes and of making your home what you want it to be. So we raised the first year over $1,000 that we donated to SNAP. The second year we raised $2,000, and this year we are up over $2,500 at $2,675. So I'm very proud of all of the people that contributed. Also want to give a shout out to Mike McCluskey at the Railroad, who donated all of the food and much of the wine for our event as well. So we're very happy with that. And we do want to say that at Coldwell Banker Hearthside, it is our goal to support the community. We want to do that. We are fortunate enough to live in this area where real estate is a premium. There are a lot of people that want to be here. It's very desirable. We do a good job keeping the taxes so low so that people can move into the area and stay here and enjoy the fabulous education that is offered to them by all of your administrators and faculty members here. So we want to keep that going, keep the area, a great place to be. And I'd love to see all of you guys that are sitting in that audience at SNAP next year. Okay, it's a great event. It's an opportunity to continue that whole prom theme in a safe place with your friends. So we'll make it what you want. Give us your suggestions, and we'll do our best. And this will be one of the pieces that we contribute to that. And then Kelly and Terry, would you like to say anything before we go ahead?
Hi, I'm Terry Musser, and 32 years basically selling real estate locally here in Collegeville. And I'll tell you, a lot of people, they all want to live in the Spring-Ford School District, which makes our job very easy. You guys did a great job. Mainly I came to speak because I thought Colleen was going to be too shy, but now that she's done this, I think I'm done. So great job.
Kelly, you have anything you want to add to that?
Hi, I'm Kelly Musser. I'm a 2008 graduate. I loved attending this school. I loved the teachers. The support system they had here was great, and I'm very happy to be a part of the community and to help any way I can. Thank you.
So now if we could just have the SNAP members come up to accept our donation, it'd be really great. Okay. So this goes to you guys. I have 120 that's still coming. Everything else is in here. Okay. This goes to SNAP. Thank you very much for everything you do at SNAP to make that safe for our students on that very dangerous night. And we appreciate that, and we hope that'll be put to good use for next year. Okay? Thank you. Thanks.
All right, well, thank you, Caldwell Banker, for all your support to SNAP. I know money will be used very, very wisely, I guess, or, definitely towards making the event here. I don't know, I'm sure you've come through the walkthroughs that they've had. So it's an amazing night, and a lot of hard work goes into it. We appreciate everything that SNAP has done, and again, we appreciate Caldwell Banker for stepping up and being a huge part of our community here at Spring-Ford, so thank you.
You're welcome, and just to add
I
to
wasn't
that.
talking to you, I was talking to
Okay,
Mary.
but I'm going to add to that, that walkthrough that we do go, not only do we go to that, but we actually have a booth and we play The Price is Right. So look for us at the next walkthrough and come play The Price is Right. Guess the price of your home, or we'll guess.
All right, thank you. Committee reports. Before we get into committee reports, I did want to mention that the board had a quick executive session this evening to discuss personnel item. So with that, student report.
No, of course we have a report.
Okay. So we want to start off our report by mentioning the Halloween parade that was on October 31st. And because my sister goes to Brook Elementary, I got to go with her and see all the kids in costumes, and I got a picture with the one and only Vince Lombardi trophy, if you guys see it on the top. It was pretty nice. So the kids were excited. It was fun. They did a lot of pumpkin carvings, and there was a lot of food, which was always nice. So.
So this month, we visited the 7th grade center and the 8th grade center. And these are a few pictures from when we went. And then some stuff that we got back to share with you is right now the 7th grade, they're doing Operation Backpack, which is just a fundraiser. And the multicultural dinner meal they just had, that was before Thanksgiving. And then the fall play is coming up on December 14th. And then they have their Candygrams, which they do every year around Christmas time. And then they have the Turkeyest Teacher competition that was around Thanksgiving time.
Along with 8th grade, which we got to visit today, they're also doing Operation Backpack, which, if you guys don't know, it's where the kids come together and they get canned foods and they put it in backpacks and give it to the kids in need. Along with 7th grade, they also did Candygrams, and of course, 8th graders will be transitioning to 9th grade, so they will be introduced to high school course selections, their schedules, and they will be getting an assembly about setting goals and preparing for high school overall.
Some other events that are coming up, not coming up, that have happened, are the parent-teacher conferences. And then we had our high school fall play, which was this past Saturday the 17th. It was Little Women. And then there was the Mommy and Me tea right before the play, and which was just a little Mommy and Me tea. So stinking cute. And then American Education Week was the 11/12 to 11/15.
And just to give you guys a good idea of what will be coming up, we will be starting our monthly meetings that we started last year, where we will be having 2 to 3 students from each grade in the high school, and we'll all come together in either Dr. Nugent or Dr. Weidenball's office, and we'll just talk about student things. For example, like prom, like the changes and the homecoming dances, and all those things that are really relevant to us. And in December, we will also be visiting 2 different buildings, which you guys will find out in December. So that's that. Thank you.
You're going to keep us guessing, right, on the buildings?
Yes, we are.
Yep.
Any questions? Great report. You guys are doing an awesome job this year.
Thank you.
Awesome
Thank you.
job. Okay, policy, Colleen.
So the policy committee met on November 12th, and we reviewed a couple of things. We talked about some suggested changes to PSBA, according to PSBA, for meetings. And one of the major additions to this policy now states that the board can meet in executive session to discuss school safety and security measures. So this is a change, and this policy was moved forward for a first reading. We also spent a lot of time on my favorite policy, which would be use of facilities. And we, again, discussed and reviewed line by line as both a refresher for the committee members and also to rediscuss some of the changes to the policy. Additional changes were discussed and will be brought back to the January meeting for a final review with the goal of bringing a committee recommendation and presentation to the full board at one of the January school board meetings, and that will be for review and consideration. But we are at the time in this policy review where we have done as much work on it as possible in the committee. We have debated, we have gone back and forth, we've revised, we've done the best we can, and now it's time to bring it forward to the whole board. So that'll be happening in January, finally, right? So we talked about, well, Dr. Roach shared a revision of policy 217, which is related to the graduation requirements due to a change in the high school commencement recognition that eliminates the class rank. So language needed to be updated to both the early college admissions and early graduation criteria, and that policy is here for a first reading also. We spent some time on policy 815 discussing that as the district moves forward with the Modernized Learning Initiative and prepares for laptop deployment for next year's 9th grade students, policy work is needed to finalize some plans for a smooth process, a smooth transition as we enter into that. So the computers, the acceptable use of the computers, network, internet, electronic communications, and information systems, which is part of policy 815. Mr. Catalano and Dr. Roach walked the committee through the first 11 pages of this very detailed policy, which is there for everyone's protection, but it needs to be reviewed and we need to go back to that. So changes and updates to those first 11 pages will be brought back to the committee in January, along with a review of the other half of the policy, and we will review that then. The committee will also review policy 815.1, which is the student laptop and device policy, and the committee will consider some recommendations there also. So, yeah, that was about it for that evening. There were a few other business items, but that was the gist of the meeting, and we will be meeting again in January. As I said, our main focus at that time will be on the final revisions of the use of facilities and planning for the presentation to the board. Does anybody have any questions?
One of the things I think we need to do about the use of facilities is that go back to the groups that are affected by fees, in some cases new fees, as to what impact it'll have on their program or the ability to have the program, or whether they'll have to reduce what they offer. We did hear when we had the meeting a few months ago, I guess it was the end of last school year, some of the activities, like I think the Girl Scouts talked about that they would not be able to have the activity if they had to pay the fees that were being talked about. Because we're providing a lot of beneficial programs to our students at a very nominal cost to the school district that give them the same experience that our extracurricular activities give kids, particularly with sports. The kids, they don't get a chance to compete in certain things and at the elementary level that they don't have, and it's really a very small cost to the district. And if we were going to introduce new fees to them, I'd hate to see those programs curtailed and in some cases eliminated. So I think we need to find out what the impact on those programs would be if we introduce new fees to them.
Well, they did have an opportunity to come to that meeting, and they've certainly, those committee meetings that we've had are open meetings. I haven't seen anyone at those really representing those groups in particular, such as Girl Scouts or such. But again, this board meeting will be publicized also where this presentation is going to take place. And honestly, it's a presentation, and we've gone round and round in committee. It is time to hand it over to the full board for their full consideration. We have adjusted the fees as much as we possibly can. This is more of an effort to stop a bleed than it is to hurt anyone or any group. There's no intention there, and there are all kinds of opportunities within the policy to find areas where there can be concessions or there can be workable agreements. So at this point in January, when that comes back, I will hope that the committee will want to move that forward to the full board.
Because I don't, right now, any cost that those programs are costing the district are already in the budget. So it's not like we're increasing the budget as a result of these activities. And I don't really know how much we would reduce the budget if we did not have these programs. So I think it's a very nominal cost, which to the district, which could have a huge impact to certain activities. And I think there's an expectation from some of these groups that they will have an opportunity to see what those costs are going to be, so that they know how it will impact them. And even though we do have policy committee meetings that are advertised, those groups they're not looking to the website for policy committee. And I'm saying they're not. And so we should at least invite them and notify them that here's the numbers that the committee is looking at taking forward to the full board.
Maybe, Colleen, you said there's going to be a presentation to the board?
Yes, there's going to be a presentation in February, and I would highly recommend that they come to the, in January.
So maybe we could take like a couple of real-life examples of different organizations, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 from the past year that have had an event here, and just do sort of a mock-up, then and now, like here's how it will impact 300 Girl Scout event in the 7th grade cafeteria, or the basketball, or whatever the different scenarios are, just to kind of get an idea of what the actual impact is.
That's a great idea, Kelly. Thanks. We'll include that for sure.
Yeah, I think you're presenting a recommendation in January, is that correct?
That's correct.
So if there's any modifications or anything like that the board would want to see or suggest, it will go back to policy?
It would go back to policy.
Okay. But you're at a point where you want to present to the full board is what you're basically saying?
Yes, we've taken as much of the data, we've gone round and round, we've made adjustments, we've put the hometown discount, as it's been named, in places where we could. We've set up for long-term use. We've discussed as many different scenarios as you could possibly come up with. We've looked at what other districts have done. We've taken the input from Bruce Cooper before and now from our maintenance, and we've also had police involved, their input. So it's across the board that we've done as much as we can in a committee. We're never going to be able to answer all of the questions in that small group, and I'm sure there will be even more questions that come up at this table during the presentation, but it's time. We've just gone through it so much. It is time for other eyes to get on it.
Okay. We look forward to the presentation in January.
Thank you.
And one other thing, the recent change where the doors are now locked for these activities and somebody has to be let in. In 11 years on the board, I've heard from more people, and the intramural program, recreational programs have not even started yet, on how disruptive that's been to them and the difficulties. And I just had a text message from somebody saying they're standing out in the rain waiting for somebody. Two teams are out there waiting in the rain for 7th grade center to be let in. So right now that's causing more complaints than I've heard in 11 years. Just that one change.
Well, that's not a change in policy. That the policy is still in place. I think that's a change. It is a change or a reinforcement as a directive from our security director, Chief Boyer, who is saying that we have some issues there, and then we're working with Mr. Hunter as well to address how to secure our buildings as best we can. And if it's a handoff from coach to coach and a handoff and it's not being unsuccessful, then we have to look at the practice. But it's not a change in policy as we know policy. It's an adjustment in practice to the way it used to be, where doors were wide open for use of facility rentals. So there's some growing pain. I think we're in the growing pain stage right now.
Right, and that came up, Mark, you brought that up, property, went blank there for a second. And it is something that we should look at, I mean, you did bring it up, and some of the things that you were talking about, I did agree with as well, but there is a policy that's in place. The policy's basically being not enforced, but it's being followed better this year than it's been followed over the last couple of years. But it's definitely something that between the property committee and then potentially policy in the near future, that changes could or possibly be made to that as well. But we can't make that at the table, but we should look at it.
Yeah, I just can say that's been a lot of complaints, and I don't think it's providing any extra security. And it is a change in practice that in the 14 years I've been doing travel, I think only 1 year, and it was at the 7th grade center, it was really followed. So it is a big change in practice that's causing a lot of disruption and complaints. And
within the first 2 days of that, there were complete violations of things being jammed in the doors and having issues out of security and on that side. So it's definitely, and I'm not pointing fingers. It's just that's what comes up, and it's that change and that adjustment through the growing pains of how we make that piece happen. Yeah, and the people that are there are there to do, the custodial staff is there to do their cleaning pieces and not necessarily monitor the doors. So again, we're rehashing this, but
yeah, and the change I don't think provides any additional security because we don't have the same uniform practice with any other activity. And just this board meeting now, anybody can walk in the door and go anywhere they want in the school, and there's no monitoring of that door and other activities. So it's not something that's really providing extra security. It's more inconvenience.
I understand. And the meeting tonight is a school district sponsored activity. It's not a rental or a facility usage of a satellite building where there are people here. There's administrators in this building in the event that something would happen, and I'm responsible for that if that would happen in this building with us here, myself, Dr. Gooden, whoever else. Other buildings are facility rentals at satellite campuses, so you have security pieces. I get it. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just giving you the other side. That we're having growing pains, and
they're all valid points, and that's why again we're going to look at this at property committee as well as working with Mr. Hunter and Chief Boyer, and then discuss it and then make a recommendation to policy as far as what changes we could or should make, and try to address that. But unfortunately, these are the times we live in, and it is an interesting challenge as far as the building, the use of the building, the security of the building, so it's definitely something that has to be looked at, but we're not going to solve it this evening.
Yeah, I'm all for things that provide security, that, some marginal or some meaningful security, and I don't think this is one of that. That's the point.
And that's okay. I mean, I do hear where you're coming from, and there are different points of view that are on this. But I did spend a good chunk of time with Chief Boyer and with Mr. Hunter in reviewing things and trying to bring that back to policy. And we really couldn't come to a consensus or any further than we've gotten in policy about this. So that's why it's just time to bring it to the board. I mean, we've been talking about this in policy for almost 2 years at this point, I believe. So it's time that it comes in front of everyone. And maybe somebody, when they see all of it together, another set of eyes might offer another option or something that maybe is escaping us as we dig our heels in the committee. Maybe, we'll see.
Right, so let's look forward to the presentation in January. Like I said, we're not going to change it this evening, but quick question, and Dr. Roach, you may know, or Colleen, is the actual part of the doors being secure, is that part of use of facility policy, or is that a separate policy?
The current policy in 217 does specifically talk about the door being locked and having someone in the area. I can almost quote it because we've been working on it for 2 years. The revision is a little more vague, so that if there is a practice change, there's still responsibility in the areas being there. But again, we're talking about the use of the facilities through the rental piece.
Well, the reason I ask is, and obviously you probably won't have time to do it by January, but that may be a policy that we should pull out, or that section, and you could think about it, just a recommendation to actually pull that out as a separate policy. I don't know if we can. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. The reason being is just some of these security things are really going to be evergreen, probably for the next couple of years. And it's like, are certain things should refer to other policies?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's point 26 in a group of 27. Any organization who uses approved school facilities is responsible for monitoring the admittance and supervising the conduct of participants and spectators. All entrance doors are locked and shall be closed when an adult is not assigned to monitor the traffic flow in and out of the building. All organizations shall have adults assigned to maintain traffic flow, ensure supervision of the activity, and see that the group's activity is restricted to the part of the building requested for the activity. So
maybe we make it a guideline that we refer to in the policy, because these things are going to change pretty regularly. And
again, the revision, I don't have that one as quickly quoted, is a little more vague. It doesn't necessarily say it's locked based upon the situation, but it has responsibility for the facilities, people that are using the facilities, to have ownership over the general hallways and people are in the areas that they're supposed to be in.
Right, but the only reason I'm saying that, we either want to make it a guideline or make it a separate policy is because these are the things that that may change.
Right.
And without going back and changing, these bigger policies, these bigger policies, you know what I mean?
It's going to have to be a documented guideline that it's clear, because if not, then we get into a conversation.
Right, no, I'm not saying that we leave it, to be interpreted, but I'm just saying that there's certain things that we may want to start pulling out as guidelines, security guidelines, or whatever it may be, because I think that we're constantly going to be, there's going to be changes that are going to be continually made through the upcoming years.
Yep.
As look, we all know it's security within school districts is evolving.
Yes.
Maybe the other piece too, though, is that since we had to adjust or soften that language a little bit in the revision, maybe we leave it in there and just star it for now, bring it to the board, and also pull out or do a separate piece for a guideline, and then let the board decide whether to leave the softer version in or do it as a separate guideline.
But then you have to go through the whole process again if you do that, of first reading, second reading, changing the policy. That's what I'm saying that you could do that now. You could take the piece and make it a guideline and refer to the guideline. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Western Center, Dr. Dressler.
The Western Montgomery Career Technology Center Joint Operating Committee met on November the 5th, Chris Morrison, the director, presented his report that on November the 8th, they were having girls' night out and had 50 young ladies registered to introduce them to non-traditional career possibilities with a cadre of women speakers in those fields to make their presentations. In addition, on December the 5th, there will be an open house from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock for new enrollees who will be entering into their programs. The community dinner, the popular community dinner that was a turkey dinner that they had this past month, was the 20th consecutive sellout, and this is due to the great work of Chef Arndt and her terrific staff. The next event will be on January the 7th. Will be an Italian buffet. So again, I'm sure that will be a sellout. If you're interested, make sure you make your reservations early for that. They are applying for a $120,000 grant for Safe Schools funding, and they've purchased a 3D anatomy table for the health services program. And we were introduced to the new auto technology teacher who's replacing Mr. Nonamaker. The new principal, Mr. Cheminsky, reported that they had 138 perfect attendance students, which I think is pretty fabulous. They did not miss or were late for any one day of class. In addition, as community outreach programs, Mr. Morrison invited the Upper Perk Chamber of Commerce for breakfast to discuss cooperative opportunities for local businesses at the Western Center. And before that, they had a spring event for the Occupational Activities Committee where they had 100 business representatives coming in to advise the school on directions that they might be interested in the school taking. So Mr. Morrison needs to be commended for the great work he's doing to try to coordinate the programs that are being worked on at the school with the community and the needs of the community. In addition, I'd like to change the subject for a second and thank Dr. Weidenbaugh and the 9th grade for allowing us to do a study of modernized learning with Board at the School Day, which 2 members of the curriculum committee attended. I think Mrs. Fazzini, you were there, right? And I. And it was a great time, a great fun time for me anyway. I was allowed to go into any classroom that I wanted, so it wasn't a staged event. I started off in the French class and learned that there are actually some modern French songs. Not everything was sung by Edith Piaf. They do have some French songs that are the kids are learning today. Then I was allowed to go into an English literature class where they were studying Fahrenheit 451, and the teacher made the mistake of asking if I had ever read the book, and of course, being an old teacher, I decided I'd take over the class and teach them about the messages of Fahrenheit 451. At least they let me yak on for about 15 minutes and then took the class back, although I had to. Oh yeah, they had to straighten me out too, but it's my obligation to teach what I know. And then I was able to go to the history class where they were teaching about the 1920s, and I had to convince them that I hadn't actually lived through that period, but I did know some things about that. And my visit was finally capped off by Dr. Roach, who took me to the cafeteria and introduced me to the fine cuisine that is being offered there. So again, I want to thank Dr. Weidenbaugh and her staff and teachers for allowing us to disrupt their day, but it was a great time, and I really did learn a lot about how the modernized learning programs are being implemented, at least at the 9th grade center. So anyway, next.
You used up your time for PSBA.
No, I didn't. No. I mean,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
look how much you used up my time. Just
I have some questions on you done with the Western Center report?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good.
Oh, is that your
Yeah, well,
question?
I was waiting, no, well, that's my first question.
Oh, your second one is?
Well, I don't know if it's, what I'd like to see is Mr. Morrison come to the, one of the future board meetings and present how they're looking at the trade technical jobs of the future and how they're adjusting their programs to fulfill the demand for those jobs. I mean, I keep seeing and reading and hearing from people in the trades how they're really they're in big need of younger people getting into the trades because the older people are retiring and there's nobody to fill those positions. And those positions pay, in many cases, 6 figures, which I don't know if a lot of kids here realize that a plumber or electrician can make 6 figures, doesn't have to go to college, come out with several $100,000 in debt and make a very good living. I had a story from somebody I know that's in that plumbing, heating, supply business who had a plumber come to him and ask if there was any openings. He was interested in getting the sales. And the person I know asked him how much he was making, and he said he was making $140,000. This is a guy in his early 40s making $140,000 doing plumbing, and he's looking to get into sales, and the person I know has told him that he would take a big pay cut to come into sales. So it's a need for the economy, and it gives an opportunity for students to make a very good living if they go into those trades, but we need to offer the programs that those trades are in demand, and I don't think we do all that with plumbing and electricians and really recruiting people, encouraging them to get into those programs. So I'd like to see Mr. Morrison come and tell us what programs they have,
I'd be
how they're
happy to
adjusting
pass
them.
that invitation on to Mr. Morrison.
Well, I think actually Dr. Gooden could probably
Absolutely.
could extend that invitation, because I think it's something I like to see what they're doing. I like to be proactive and not let the opportunities go by for our students to get into good careers that those trades offer.
And he's come in the past. It's been a few years since he's been here, so I think it's good timing for him to come in and present, especially after the presentation we had a couple meetings ago from Ms. Bass as well. So I'd love to hear what they're doing out there.
Yeah, Dr. Dressler had mentioned that he had a number of businesses come in and say what their requirements were. I think that would give them ideas as to where they need to take the programs in the future so that we can meet that. I mean, we're doing a disservice to our students and to our country by not trying to get those programs and trying to encourage kids to go into those, because we're going to have situations where you can't get an electrician, you can't get a plumber, and we're not going to be able to build houses because we don't have the people that can do it. Or the people that do it,
Oh, no, that would be a bad thing.
that would be a very bad thing. So I think I'd like to see what he has to say, how he's adjusting the programs, because we haven't really had that presentation. And I'd like to see that presentation given. And my last question is, did you eat your vegetables and your fruit when you had the lunch in the 9th grade center?
It wasn't very well balanced because I chose what I wanted to eat, and I don't want to, this might be broadcast to areas I wouldn't want people to know.
So in other words, he spent most of his time at the dessert line.
And it went in the trash.
No, not. What was that?
You do like sweets.
I had no, I have a witness here.
You did eat your fruit, if you want to be
There you
clear.
go.
I will
Thank-
vouch for that.
Thank
yes.
you.
Yes.
And good night. Jeez.
All right, moving beyond the fruit.
I guess I'll just mention one thing about PSBA. The students of the Boyertown High School are taking their case about their bathroom issues to the Supreme Court to fight the students who lost their appeal in a challenge of Boyertown Area High School policy that allows transgender students to use the bathrooms and locker rooms matching their gender identity, have asked the U.S. Supreme Court to hear their case. So we will wait to see how that proceeds, because that could affect policies in all the school districts throughout Pennsylvania. That's the only thing I wanted to mention about the PSBA, other than the fact that they also reported that 73% of the teachers in Pennsylvania are women, but only 28% are superintendents. Something to ponder. That's the end of that report. Any questions?
Legislative, Ms. Melton's not here. MCIU, I didn't make the meeting this week or last week. No, last week. There wasn't, other than just normal operating business towards the end of the year, it was going on. Superintendent's report.
The only report I have this evening is to remind the community that we have many concerts during the holiday season, and if you'll check your respective school websites or the district website hall, you can find out where those concerts and when those concerts are happening, both choral and band concerts, and orchestra, yes. So, so be sure to check that. That's coming up, and there'll be a lot of those programs that we have.
I did want to add also, we didn't mention it last week, but once again, Veterans Day, passed a few weeks ago, and Springford, as a community, a school district community, there was recognition for our veterans throughout each of the school buildings. There was many different events that were planned, and students really, again, take it to that high level of respect and support for our veterans, and it makes me proud of our district and how much we spend recognizing our veterans. So I just wanted to throw that out there, as well as that, because I know a couple of years ago it was questioned, and, Springford doesn't do anything, which was the furthest thing from the truth. All the, if not all, most of the buildings have some type of events throughout the day supporting and recognizing our veterans.
I think Erin Crew did a piece on that, or it had gotten to the patch somehow too, about all of the all of the activities that centered around highlighting the veterans.
And speaking of our veteran legal support, Mr. Fitzgerald, do you have a solicitor's report this evening?
Well, thank you. Very briefly, next week, next Monday night, which will be the third straight Monday we're together, we will have our reorganization meeting. Of course, that is statutorily required under the school code, where we reset our officers. So that will be next Monday evening.
Thank you. All right. Let's roll through, see the agenda items here. Meeting minutes A and B. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Motion second. Any comment? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Personnel A through F.
Second.
Motion second. Any comment? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Finance A through I.
Second.
Motion second. Any comment? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Property, A.
Second.
Motion second. Any comment? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Programming and curriculum, A through C.
Second.
Motion second. Any comment? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Conferences and workshops, A through I.
Second.
Motion second. Any comment? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Other business, B through E.
Second.
Motion second. Any comment? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. Any board comment? Public to be heard on anything? Once, twice? All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Meeting adjourned.